Hello class, will be your notes on adding and subtracting functions. So the notes portion is not a lot, but I do have a few examples that we're going to go through after this. The first thing is when you're adding or subtracting functions, you just add or subtract, whichever it says, the entire function, and then you combine the like terms. So this is just like adding and subtracting polynomials like we did, I think, in the first week of school. Alright, we have the first example, number 1, we have h of x equal to 2x squared plus x minus 5, and g of x equal to negative 3x squared plus 4x plus 1. And we need to find h of x plus g of x. So to do that, we're just going to add the two entire functions together, so we'll get 2x squared plus x minus 5, and then we'll add the entire g of x, which is negative 3x squared plus 4x plus 1. The only thing left to do here is to combine like terms. The x squareds go together. 2 minus 3 is minus 1. You don't need to write the 1, so it's negative x squared. The x and the plus 4x combine into positive 5x, and negative 5 plus positive 1 is 6, and that would be our final answer, negative x squared plus 5x plus 6. Now in the second example, it wants us to find h of x minus g of x. So this will be the exact same thing that we had before, but instead we're subtracting. So subtracting you have to be a little bit more careful with. So let's take a look at it. We'll just do the same thing, but instead of plus here, it's a minus. So we took the whole first one, h of x, which is 2x squared plus x minus 5, and we're subtracting the entire function g of x, which is negative 3x squared plus 4x plus 1. Now it won't end up being this time, because what we have is 2x squared minus negative 3. Now this is important to notice. Subtracting a negative equals adding. So whenever you subtract a negative number, it's the same as adding the positive number instead. And I just misspelled subtracting. There it is. So when we have 2 minus negative 3, that's like the same as 2 plus 3. 2 plus 3 is obviously 5, so we'll get 5x squared. And then the negative goes into the 4 also, so we'll do x minus positive 4. 1 minus 4 is negative 3, so we'll get negative 3x. Negative 5 minus positive 1 is negative 6. So then we get our final answer of 5x squared minus 3x minus 6. I'm realizing now that I've made a mistake. You might have already noticed it, but I'll go back. This was negative 5 plus 1, not positive 5 plus 1, so let's go back up here. Fix our mistakes. This should have been negative 5 plus 1 is actually negative 4. So this is where we should have been here, at negative x squared plus 5x minus 4. I mistook this negative 5 for a positive 5. So be very careful with the negatives. Okay, moving on to example number 2. We have h of x is equal to 4x squared minus 2x plus 5, and g of x is equal to 5x squared minus 2x plus 5. That's great. So when we go into here, we'll just do h of x plus g of x, just like we did before. H of x is 4x squared minus 2x plus 5, and then we'll add all of 5x squared minus 2x plus Now you notice that each time I've done this, I've put the second one in parentheses, and I think that's very important that you do it this way, and you probably should actually do it on the first one also. It's especially important when you're doing subtraction, because that shows that you have to distribute the subtraction to all three of the things in the second function. With addition, it doesn't change anything, but it's important to get in the right habit. So 4x squared and 5x squared are like terms because they both have these x squared terms here. So then we just add the numbers in front. 4 and 5 is 9x, and we keep 9x squared. We don't add the exponents or anything like that. Negative 2x and negative 2x are like terms because they both have an x without any exponents. Negative 2 plus negative 2 is negative 4x. And then 5 and 5 are like terms. 5 plus 5 is 10. So we get 9x squared minus 4x plus 10. Now again, we'll just do the same thing that we did before. We'll change this to a negative. So now we're doing h of x minus g of x once again. So we have to remember to take this negative into all three of the terms on the inside. So we have 4x squared minus 5x squared. 4 minus 5 is negative 1. We get negative x squared again. We have negative 2x minus negative 2x. Remember, minus a negative is the same as adding. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So those terms actually cancel each other out. And then 5 minus 5 also cancels. 5 minus 5 is 0. So we're left with a final answer of negative x squared. So these are our two answers on this one. Third example for the day. We have f of x as 3x squared plus x plus 2. And we have g of x as 4x squared plus 2 times 3x minus 4, and h of x is equal to 5 times x squared minus 1. So we want to find f of x minus g of x. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our f of x and our g of x and subtract them. So f of x is 3x squared plus x plus 2. We're going to subtract g of x, which was 4x squared. And actually I'm going to go up here and I'm going to do the distribution up here. So we have 4x squared plus 2 times 3x is 6x. And 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. So we'll have 4x squared plus 6x minus 8. 3x squared minus 4x squared, because they have the same x squared term, is negative x squared. Positive x minus 6x is negative 5x. And 2 minus negative 8, again 2 minus negative 8 is plus 8, 2 plus 8 is 10. And that would be our final answer, negative x squared minus 5x plus 10. Now it wants us to do g of x minus h of x. So we have h of x, which needs to be distributed also. So we'll do that right now. 5 times x squared is 5x squared. That was this one. And the next one is 5 times negative 1, which is minus 5. So g of x minus h of x. G of x, if you remember, was 4x squared plus 6x minus 8. Then we'll subtract h of x, which is 5x squared minus 5. 4x squared minus 5x squared is negative x squared. 6x doesn't have any terms to go with it. There's no x's left, so it stays 6x. Negative 8 minus negative 5 is negative 8 plus 5. Negative 8 plus 5 is negative 3. And that's our answer here. Now we have one more that's back up at the top. We want to do f of x plus g of x minus h of x. Now you see this here, the g of x minus h of x, we just did it down here. These are the same. So we can just add f of x with what we've already calculated. So f of x is 3x squared plus x plus 2. And then g of x minus h of x is what we're adding, is negative x squared plus 6x minus 3. 3x squared plus negative x squared, because they both have the x squareds, they're like terms, is 2x squared. Positive x and 6x, those are like terms. 1 plus 6 is 7, so you get 7x. And then 2 plus negative 3 is 2 minus 3, which is minus 1. And you get 2x squared plus 7x minus 1 as your final answer. So in all of these, you're just looking for which ones have the same number of x's based on the exponent, and you're combining those together. So x squareds go together, regular x's go together. If we had x cubes, x to the third power, those would all go together. And just combine everything that is compatible. We have one more example for the day. This is a word problem. So we have perimeter of a trapezoid, which is 39a minus 7. Three sides have the lengths 9a, it's 1, 5a plus 1, and 17a minus 6. What is the length of the fourth side? So it's telling you there's four sides. To find the perimeter of any shape, you add the sides together. A trapezoid has four sides, which it tells us. So we're just going to add them all together. We have 9a. We're going to add 5a plus 1. And we're going to add 17a minus 6. (9a plus 5a plus 17a). These are all a's. They all go together. 9 and 5 is 14. 14 and 17 is 31. So that's 31a. And then we have 1 minus 6 as our constants. 1 minus 6 is negative 5. So this is our 3. We need to add the fourth, which we can call that x, where x is the fourth side. And we need that to be equal to the perimeter, which is 39a minus 7. So we'll solve this. We'll subtract 31a. That cancels, and you get 8a over here. And you might have been able to look at this and see that we had 31a and we needed to get to 39, so obviously we needed to have 8a more. But if not, solving is always a way to figure it out. We'll have to add 5, so that's minus 2, and x, which is our fourth side, is 8a minus 2. So just to check to make sure we did it right, we had the three sides, which added up to 31a minus 5, and then we're going to add the fourth side, which is 8a minus 2. That gets us 31 plus 8 is 39. A minus 5 minus 2 is minus 7. These are all the assignments that you have due tomorrow when I come back. Make sure to get them completed. Thank you.